Time to take a look at what's been grabbing headlines around the world, and Florence joins me again. Lots of focus on the migrant crisis.
That's right. Aid agencies have sounded the alarm. Let's take a look at the front page of The Independent. It talks about a mass grave once more. This is, of course, the Mediterranean route, which is starting to surge again as spring brings calmer seas. According to the International Organization for Migration, hundreds of migrants have been rescued or drowned on the way to Italy in the past couple of days. The Wall Street Journal is also reporting on this migrant route, this Mediterranean route to Italy. You can see it says that migrants are flocking to Italy as Greece arrivals decline. Now, remember, in March, the EU struck a deal with Turkey to try and halt the influx of migrants into Greece. And in recent days, the number of people crossing the Aegean Sea has fallen. So it seems like perhaps they're choosing an alternative route into Italy. Now, the China Daily has a cartoon today which is critical of that deal that was struck between the EU and Turkey. It was kind of a refugee swap, trade deal swap, if you will. You can see this boat here arriving to this wall, which represents the European Union with barbed wire on top, and you can see that U-turn there on the wall.
And Florence, the New York Times has been granted a prestigious Pulitzer Prize for its coverage of the migrant crisis.
That's right. The New York Times is sharing that prize with Reuters, actually. This is the prize for breaking news photography. This is one of several of a series that I definitely recommend checking out on the New York Times website. Incredibly moving series that follows the plight of refugees as they come to Europe.
Okay, let's move on to other news now. And Brazil is still in the spotlight this Tuesday, with Dilma Rousseff saying that she's outraged by attempts to impeach her.
That's right. You can read about it, of course, in the Brazilian papers. Dilma Rousseff has compared this whole impeachment process to torture. That's what you can see here on the front page of the Folha de Sao Paulo. She's vowed to appeal this process in front of the Supreme Court. The Correio, that's another paper in Brazil, reports that now the ball is in the Senate's court. Now, the Senate is expected to vote on the matter in May. And Estado, that's another Brazilian paper, looks at how things stand today. You can see it says that if the vote were held today, 46 senators would be in favor of going through with the impeachment. 41 votes are needed for the process to actually begin. And the paper points out, though, that Brazilian senators are known to be quite fickle and change their minds easily. So they're going to have regular updates on how the vote will swing.
Okay, well, meanwhile, papers are still reacting to that vote which took place on Sunday in the lower house of Congress there.
That's right. It was a special televised session, certainly some impressive...
Very long, very
impressive, rowdy images coming out of that session. Now, what's interesting is when MPs voted, they cited reasons for carrying through their vote, and they were quite eclectic. For instance, some of them said this is for the birthday of my granddaughter, for Brazilian doctors, for truckers, for you, mother. And you can see this is a cartoon in Folha de Londrina, which is making fun of the reasons why these MPs voted. You can see this guy saying, "In the name of God, my sons, my mother, cat, dog, friends, lovers, I abstain from voting."
Okay, so while most papers inside Brazil are in favor of Rousseff's impeachment, outside it's a different story.
Very different story. It's really interesting to see the differences, actually. Outside of Brazil, a lot of papers are critical of this impeachment process. Just to show you some examples, this is the editorial in The Guardian today. You can see they're talking about a dark day for Brazil. It's hard to imagine a more gloomy landscape. According to this paper, the opposition and the Workers' Party are very discredited by what's currently happening in Brazil. The Washington Post as well says that Brazil needs new elections, not needless impeachment wars. But this paper does point out that the impeachment process, this movement, is in strict observance of the rule of law, which is one area where Brazil is getting stronger.
Okay, let's move on to US politics now, and the primary vote in New York State grabbing some headlines.
That's right. Of course, that's going to happen tomorrow on Tuesday. Big news in the US. Let's take a look, first of all, at this cartoon in the New York Times by Chapat. You can see Bernie Sanders about to crush Wall Street, much like a Godzilla. Now, that being said, many polls predicted that Hillary Clinton will actually beat Bernie Sanders by double digits. Let's take a look at an article in The New Yorker, actually, that wonders, did the New York primary campaign change anything Clinton. Well, if you look at polls, not really. There has always been quite a gap between predictions for Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. That being said, polls can be wrong, like they were in Michigan. But the New Yorker says that this time pollsters checked and double-checked, so it seems like Hillary Clinton will win the primary. We'll see tomorrow. On the Republican side of things, Donald Trump is expected to have a landslide victory. Interesting article in The Independent today, which reports about a new survey of 20,000 adults in every G20 country. And according to this survey, most people want Hillary Clinton to be president. But there's one country where they want someone else to be in the White House. They want Donald Trump to be in the White House, and that is Russia, according to this study. Most Russians want Donald Trump to be the president of the United States.
Goodness me. Okay, let's stay with The Independent, which has a report about worker performance.
That's right. Just a quick look at this article. It caught my eye. It's been getting a lot of attention on social media. People aged over 40 perform better with a 3-day working week. This is a study carried out by the Melbourne Institute Working Paper Series. It says that when the week goes over 25 hours, people over the age of 40, well, they get stressed out and they're less effective at work.
I know I do.
I know I do too.
Thanks very much, Florence and Stephen. We're taking a very short break right now, but there's more news and headlines coming up. Live from Paris continues. Do stay tuned.